So I went and stayed. He took me to. He had one of these a pharmacy friend. A guy that owned a pharmacy, and as he was cleaning and treating me, he was like, "If you see the accidents that they just showed on news."
Whose responsibility is it to teach our children?
Anybody
one survived.
So I don't think anybody survived. When he finished, I said, "That's the accident." He jumped. No. The next day, my sister passed there and went to work. She said, "Nobody will survive this accident." You understand? That was in the accident. So that was my clue. It's like, okay, God, this man, I will just sit down. I didn't leave his house again. I held him. You understand? Like this. It's like, boom. I knew.
You knew?
I knew that he's not
the man.
He's not the one, but it's like, okay, let me just stay with this one. You understand? There are things that would make me say, because there was the violence, the way he used to talk to his parents. He was living like in the boys' quarter with, parents. When a man does not respect the mother, be careful. He was like, if I go out and I'm looking like this, let God will not allow me look at anybody that's a man. He will say, "You're doing eye play."
Wow.
He was, control from the beginning. But I was glad to have a roof under
over my head.
Because he was, to start with, the first man that had ever spent any kind of money
on you.
On me.
And for you, that was love.
Oh, wow. Wow. But something was like, I shouldn't, but it's like, okay, I've got 2 children.
Did he know? Did you tell him?
I didn't tell him initially. It took a long time. It took a long time. Actually, I think I actually wrote it down. There was one time when I took pills. Wanted to kill. Yeah. Because he used to like, okay, your stomach, all the stretch mark and everything. I used to think of what stupid lies, But anyway, I took him to, so don't forget, by this time I'd run away from home. So when I went back, I now took him back home eventually, because he was like, okay, where are you from? I need to go. My mom was in Saudi. Take you home, this, that. I was so happy. Oh, I'm bringing a husband.
But you said something. Hold on. Let me take you back a bit. You said something that when you realized that you came out of that accident and somebody, which had to be God, was on your side for you to have survived that, did any kind of reality dawn that, okay, this is finally my bus stop, no more messing about, I'm going to be straight with God?
Yeah.
Did you
Part of the straightness with God is getting married.
Wow.
Part of the straightness with God is getting married and just like, okay, I'm in this situation. I can't go back home. I don't have anywhere to go to. I don't know. I cannot go and follow sugar daddies. That would not work. Let me just settle with this one. He made me promises. He will help me with your passport. You go to London, we'll come, and all of that. So who would do that for me? He is the very one. I took him home. My dad. My parents have not been one that would insist, even though he was like, it was like, well, if this is what you say,
it's your choice.
It's your choice. I had a very cheap registry. A registry. Because for me to go abroad, he too was also going to come
and join you.
Come and join me. I had a very cheap registry. But the very first week we got married, that was the first time he beat me. Beat me silly.
What did you do?
Oh God, a little argument. I can't even remember something. There's it's one of those people that you can't. How dare you talk back, or how dare you argue?
I know you full well. He's only living in the boys' quarters of his parents' house.
He had a good job.
Yeah, but was that where you was your matrimonial? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we're already processing my passport, so it was just a matter of time.
So he was fulfilling his promise you're gonna go.
Yes, he was,
London.
And he did.
Okay.
And he did. He did help me. He helped me.
In the middle of the violence.
In the middle of the violence. You understand?
So
and
you
for
had this possessive, dominating, controlling, abusive, and I'm talking physical abuse. And did you still see love in all this? Because, you know, he was spending money on you and he was giving you a roof over
Ask
your
all the
head.
women that are in violence, in domestic violence. Ask them. Do you understand? Ask them. The guy is like, 1 minute he's beating you, 1 minute he's like this, the next minute he is loving you. I'm buying designer t-shirt. There was no designer t-shirt or shirt, Ralph Lauren perfume. There was nothing I didn't have.
Wow.
There was nothing I didn't have. And that was the first person to ever
spend money on you. So for you, though he's beating you up, but he still loves me.
You understand?
So this was better than...
It's part of, it's like one of those things. One of his, but there was another voice in my head that is like, I cannot stay with you. I first of all tried to, but there was something else. And that's why I said I had the abortion. It was like, if I have a child with this guy, that's it. There's no way. So there's something, and I don't know, I really say I was really messed up in my mind. So there was something that was like, there's no way I'm going to be tied, because it was so bad. It was so bad. All my friends knew, my parents, you know, he was like, he had no respect for nobody. You know, it was so bad. There was even one time he took a knife in London, you know, wanted to...
Oh, so he did come to London?
Yeah, he did come to London. He bought a ticket for me. He was very good. That was the best thing. How can you buy a ticket for me to come to London? Wow. You must really love me. So it was like... And even though he cheated, he really did cheat. Towards the end of the relationship, he stopped cheating. But then my mind...
was made up,
you understand?
And
it was
by
like,
this time you were in London. By this time you'd come over to London. He's come to join you. Was that when you now became pregnant?
I was pregnant when I left Nigeria.
Okay.
You understand?
So you got here and discovered you were pregnant, or you discovered when you were in Nigeria?
I discovered, I can't remember, either here or there, but then there were too many things against me then. I was like, well, I've just come, I've got to walk, I've got to do this, you know, I've got to do that. And then with this guy, it's like, there's no way, you understand, it's going to be tied. Actually, the first time I had an abortion was probably not, was probably because I cannot handle it. There's no way I'm going to be able to survive. You know, for you to come, I have to walk. You know, I have to walk, I have to get flat, I've got to do everything. Do you understand? So yeah, so it was actually when he came and we started living together and I got pregnant again, it was like, by this time it's like, there is no way I'm going to be tied with another, because, so he's like, this marriage is not working.
He refused to work?
No, I am saying it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So, but if I leave him, it will be now the third child, 3 different men. You understand? It's like, okay, so I cannot be carrying that, baggage on my head. But anyway, things. He's going to drugs. There's so many things.
And all this, again, because the aspect here that we're trying to get across for people to understand why it is that we're sharing this story is obviously there was something that was elusive to you all this while, and it was love. And you thought you finally found it in this first marriage, only to end up being with an abusive person.
By the time I was in with the first marriage, now I don't even know whether it was about love or anymore, but just being in a marriage. You understand? Just being in a marriage and have because I had my close friend, she also got married. She got married early, and it was like, okay, now I have to have what everybody else has.
Okay.
I have to be married. I have to, and you don't have many choices. So the first one that you try and do everything.
Why do you say you don't have many choices?
Because
you already have 2 children.
Yeah, I already have two children.
Okay, so if you find anybody that's willing to take you, you can't be picky, take what comes your way. And that was exactly what you did.
Society says you're an outcast already.
Wow.
You understand? Wow. Society says you're an outcast already. You understand? So it's like trapped in it, but then I was still very, it's like after a while, it's you know what, he's probably going to kill me.
So
okay, so husband number 1, things really got bad. But one of the things he did, and with many abusive, and can I just say he's dead?
Oh.
You understand? So that's 2 men in my life dead. He's dead. They found him on the stairs. We don't know whether someone pushed him. He really got into drugs. This was after.
You left him?
About 6-7 years after we left. And a lot of people blamed me. They said I pushed him into drugs because I left him. But the drugs even started before. Let me not say a lot. I've heard rumors. He even came.
that's
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. Okay. So anyway, the relationship went so bad. But one of the things he was a graduate, and don't forget I left school. I left.
You didn't finish.
No, I didn't finish. I tried when I tried to go to Middlesex, but then I hadn't stayed the number of years, so I had to pay my fees, and all of that. I tried for a while, but I couldn't struggle. And one of the things he used to laugh, used to really insult me, and was like, you that don't even have a degree. He's like, he made a tech class in, I think, sociology or so.
Okay.
And he was like, he went to very good school in Nigeria, and he's like, he was, pull me down and all of that. And I was like, okay, you understand? I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna show you that
I can do it.
I can do it. You understand? And that became
Your goal.
my goal. That was my driving force. I went to school, came out with a first class degree.
With him?
The first year was then we already started, the first year, that was when we started the divorce, proceedings, and it was one of those violent situations, because we already had an officer, a police officer, because of a lot of all the
violence.
A lot of all the violence. So I had them on my phone, speed down.
Wow.
So I had enough case because I was like, I will either die
or
do you understand, or somewhere, because it was my family is this, it's something that was well known, and it wasn't just with me, it was just that kind of person. So I was like, okay, okay, you say whatever you want to say, but I am an intelligent person, so that was my goal.
Went back to school,
went to scale
uni.
I was writing exams and in here getting 86. I came out with first class, best result, best project, and best everything. So there was this other guy. I didn't get married to that one.
So, but you were divorced by now?
Yeah.
You were divorced, everybody has gone their way.
Everybody has gone.
Okay.
Their
but
way.
Your children were still back in Nigeria?
My children one was in Nigeria and one was in Gambia.
Okay.
Okay. One was in Gambia.
Okay.
So there was this other guy. The one that used to laugh at me when I was young, I used to call me, somehow he was out of the country, I was here, and for some reason I think he was stranded where he was. He was stranded where he was, and then somehow his sister also connected us.
Okay.
And all of a sudden,
you were in this relationship.
He loved me. He loved me. So it was like, I told my dad, I remember when I told my dad, I said, you don't understand. This is it. This is first love. You understand? But anyway, spent all my student loan bringing him down, because for me, as far as I can spend the money, he's mine. Immediately he came to this country.
He disappeared.
We still in relationship, you understand, but it wasn't, things just changed, and somehow, oh God, that completely broke
you down.
Oh my goodness, that's what brought me to church. That's what brought me to church. My sister-in-law, I didn't think I would ever survive from that. That's what brought me to church. And somehow I met my bishop. I will never forget the scripture. Behold, I will do a new thing
in your life.
Oh God, behold, I will do Isaiah. Where is it? Yeah, forget the former things. And everything
have passed away.
But now we're now in a different situation altogether, because we cannot have sex. So it's like, get a man quickly and marry him. Oh God, and there was this guy that came into the church. Oh my goodness, and he was like.
But ideally, let me ask you here.
You're asking too many questions.
I know, because not only for my benefit, but for people that are watching, and how what kind of gap are we talking between this man and, because by now you thought you'd found love because this man spent money on you, only to turn into abusive, only for him to come down and everything turned upside down. You got a divorce, you moved on. Then you thought you met somebody that was love, and no, he used you, he got here, disappeared.
The kind of love I used to love then, he had to take another relationship to get me out of.
Really?
He had to get my focus on something else to get me out of that. Because once I'm gone, I'm gone. You understand? Once I've made up my mind, but I've got to have something else to focus on, and
was there a fear? Was there a fear of being on your own? Was there a fear of why did the love have to be from men?
That's the thing. Why do people steal? Why do people do different things? Do you understand? Why?
But for you,
for me, it was men.
The love of a man.
David's family. David loved women. You understand? Different people have. You understand? There is a void. Remember, I said there's a void in everybody's life that only God can fill.
But you didn't know it was a void at the time.
No. There was love. It's only Jesus that could fill it. But I was like, validation, whatever it is, I just don't know. But it was like, I just love that feeling
of being in love.
Oh, wow, just sit together and sing. Because, and the funny thing is that with every relationship, after I've left, they always come back and say, even my daughter's dad, your mom was the best thing. Do you understand? So there are patterns. They always come back, and I used to say, rubbish, God punish you. I'm sorry to say, I'm very real.
Yeah.
It's after they've left. Do you understand? After they've left, because I will give you my all and all. I will do everything for you. It was like to make you happy. And I didn't need, with Jesus, you don't have to do, like we were talking about Lee the other day. She did everything. So it's like, if I do this, you will be happy. And it wasn't a case of, okay, I wanted to be sleeping around, or it was about sex or anything. I just wanted, when I feel that way, I just know that, just like that. With my ex-husband, it was like, don't go anywhere, let's just come back from church and just watch telly, eat together, that ideal setting.
Wow. Because you actually mentioned that finally, okay, your sister-in-law brought you to the church, you came to the church, so now you met this young man in church as well, and was that also love, or
well, it was fine. I would have met him. As far as you're fine, somehow I don't. Then again, then you wonder whether it's love, whether it's something.
You had this.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch and think, "What, she's crazy." Yes, I am crazy. I will be the first person to admit it.
It seems like you had this desire for handsome men.
Even my friend told me, Rookie, haven't you learned anything? She's like, don't. My friend and her husband says, any man that comes near you will put him through, those barriers in the airports. You understand? It's like, there was just...
So you had this ideal man, and the ideal man was always handsome, good-looking, tall. So as soon as they met that criteria, you were gone. Even in the church.
He's a husband now. What do you say? Maurice Chestnut. You know Maurice Chestnut?
Yeah.
If I can get him to be born again.
You get him to be born again.
There's nothing about husband, you understand? He's a man, whether it's tall, it will be good, you understand? God, there was one lady that was married to this one of my fine boss. I used to wonder what it was like to wake up and just look at him.
Wow.
I said that would just fill me. So I just wonder how, he was very good looking. I was just wonder how she'll wake up.
Look at this fine human being.
I said that would do it
for you.
Turn like...
Wow. Honestly, sincerely, is actually something I can't comprehend. But obviously, we're coming from two different angles, and probably people watching you and I right now as well.
So many people that we identify. There are some people that will not identify, but there are so many different people.
Exactly.
And I said that's why I say that I like the Bible. It's for different. You will always find where you sit. In the Bible.
Wow. So now you met this fine young man in the church.
He didn't have a stay.
You didn't know that?
I knew that.
Oh,
but I'm a British citizen.
Okay.
I can sort you out.
So you were the sorter.
You understand? I've got what you need. You understand? And then it's like,
Well, it always seems like you always want to give something.
yeah, because that's why I started with
Yes.
the first relationships I had, because I had to give something to get
What you wanted.
You understand?
So whatever it required for
Whatever
you to
required,
get, you
you
were
understand?
willing to
You understand?
give.
But with this one, I still had the same mindset. I was still, it's like the Israelites that came out of Egypt, but they're still with the Egypt.
They still had the
you know,
Egypt's mind,
the mindset. So it's like, okay, this guy, very naive. I was very stupid and naive, thinking that okay, now I'm in church.
You know, once you meet somebody
Once you
in
meet
church,
someone in church,
it's a
I
done
didn't
deal.
even know that
It's the real thing. You can't get the counterfeit
you
in
understand?
church.
You can't get it. You understand?
Because all the other relationship you've had has been outside the church.
right.
So finally, this is in
this
the
one in
church.
church is
So
gone.
you've nailed it this time. It can't go wrong.
But
so
that
what
void
happened?
was still there. That void was still there, and that's when God at times will now say, okay, you this silly woman, I'm trying to get you to think that void only I can place it. But then that's when he now got me, because God gave him everything he wanted, you understand? But then now was like the ideal family. Let's settle down and forget about the past, forgetting those things behind and moving forward.
Was he ever married before you?
He has 2 children. He's not married, but had 2 children. So he had 2 girls. I had a girl and a boy. But his case was now, you can't give me any child. Because we tried. The first few months after we got married, I got pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant then. And I didn't know I was pregnant then. Because with this other guy that left me, that brought me to church, when I was sleeping with him, I didn't get pregnant. So with the abortion I had with my husband, first husband, I thought, okay, God is punishing me. God is punishing, God is punishing me. I didn't have with him, but with my first husband, with my second husband, I had in the very first few months. Then I was very big. That's when I showed you that picture. I was very big. So with all the weight and all of that, I thought, it's not going to happen. But with prayer and everything,
You got pregnant.
I went not even with prayer. I didn't even know. It was my pastor's wife. I felt very funny. I was like, go and do a pregnancy test, and I went and did it. And I was pregnant. I was shocked. I showed him. Well, because of the weight and everything, I thought I would, I didn't know I was pregnant. Let's just put it that way. I just know I had a funny feeling and a lot of that. But in the week I went to the hospital to do proper test. That's when I had the miscarriage. Immediately I found out I was 3 months pregnant. I had miscarriage. He blamed me for it. Yeah, he blamed me for it. And then since then,
All you were out to do was get pregnant.
because anybody that comes in church, get married, the next thing you see them, they will start having babies. So that was not my goal. That was not my goal to have children, and that was the darkest period of my life. That was, the darkest. You could hardly talk to me without, without crying, and I couldn't tell anybody. You understand? I couldn't tell anybody because as far as everybody knew, I had
Married.
2 children. No, I had 2 children. So, it was one of those things. There was no reason why, there was no reason. They didn't think that was a void. I was looking for a child. You have 2 children. You don't have a problem. He has 2 children.
Okay.
You understand? But with the person that I went to bed with every night, that was the one card. He tried till day we divorced, and he's gone, and he's justifying it because
You didn't.
I didn't have a child, and I was going to God and say, okay, if you just give me this child, it will work, and God probably trying to tell me, was trying to say, you know what?
Lean not on
The
your
child
own
is not,
understanding.
the child is not the issue, the men are not the issue. You
It is
understand?
you.
It is you, and it is, me and you, you need to, Anna, you see Anna, that cried.
That cried.
She cried and came, you understand? God opened her womb because she obviously wanted a child, but, there was something that would have, really
God
brought me down to my knees. And I've started studying and started writing, and that's what, brought about so many things.
When did you realize that this void can only be filled with God?
After he left?
After he left.
After
so
crying.
What happened? Did he just walk out? Did you decide this is it? Let's go our different ways?
He left me because I couldn't have a child. He kept on having affairs. He kept on having affairs. First of all, it was the weight thing. I lost the weight. You know, I was like, oh.
Now I've lost the weight.
Now I've lost the weight, you know, baby. Immediately I lost the weight, he was like, your body's no longer the same. You know, it was just like one thing after the other. It was like one thing after the other. And it was like, come on. You know, he had an affair with the first woman. And that was the thing he was telling everybody, even the women, oh, she can't have a child for me, my wife. And he made me feel I was with same age. He made me feel like I was one old, you know, woman. Even with the lady that he's married to now. That was the first thing she told me when we spoke. She said, oh, I'm 28. She's 28, meaning to say. And she told me, how do you feel to be used? I'm pregnant. You know, that was the thing that he was like, my wife cannot have or the woman, you know, that's if he ever told them, you know, whatever it is. You know, it was, for me, Lord, just I've got to save this marriage. I cannot keep going from man to man. I've got to, if you just open my womb,
after this baby, this marriage will be sorted out.
You know, and God is like,
it didn't work.
Oh no.
So he packed up.
Yeah, I found out the second, you know, by the second time, but this time now he's had his stay. So things had really had really changed, you know, and there was something very you wouldn't really know, you know, he was very, because I was having, you know, spend time at home, you know, we spend the time at home with me. We would go to, he was always walking, and it was that time he was doing all the things that he could do, you know. Apart from that, we'll go to church, come back, we'll spend time at home, because I'm not really, I wasn't really one of those outgoing person. It would take me a long time. I just wanted to be happy
and be at home.
You know, and be at home. You understand? But at times we look for happiness in the wrong love and, you know, wrong places. But
so after he now left, what happened?
Well,
how did you realize that this is not about? It's not a void anybody can fill.
It's just spending endless nights crying, praying, you know. What I remember from a prophet here, there was something he said when I was crying. You know, he said the weapon God has given you. You know, then you start hearing different things. It's like, there was one time he said, have I not saved you? You know, God was saying, have I not saved you from death? That was the first time I actually, you know, paid attention to all the accidents I've been having, because God, I thought God didn't love me. You know? So there's so many things that God did to break me and break me and break me and break me. You understand? A lot of people, even people that didn't understand God, they didn't understand. They looked at me and said, Ruki, you are a strong woman. By now you're supposed to be in the mental, you know, institution, because I was dealing with divorce. I was dealing with this house almost being repossessed. I was dealing at the same time. I was dealing with my brother, my younger brother dying. I was dealing with work issues. I was dealing with health issues. I was dealing with everything at the same time. It's like, just when I think I can even try, okay, get up, you know, get up, one thing would happen, you know. Oh, I can't even explain it. And God was like...
Were you working around this time as well?
Yeah, I was working.
So you were going to work, you were living a normal life.
I was going to work.
On the inside.
On the inside, you know. I remember with my first husband, I was in school then. Somebody was like, oh God, you are so... I love you. I love you. This is a girl. You're always happy. I would like to be like you. And I told her, I said, don't curse yourself. I said, don't curse yourself.
You know, it's good you said that for a lot of people that are listening, because we always look at people and we think, oh, they've got it all sorted out. They've got this beautiful life and they've got no clue the hell that you're going through. So be careful what you truly wish for. So when you say you want to be like somebody, you do not know what that person is going through.